Hello everyone, and thank you for coming to my channel and to today's video. My name is Marie if you don't know who I am, and today I'm going to be talking about how to handle anxiety and depression while you're in college. So, a little background on me. I was diagnosed with depression-like symptoms when I was a senior in high school in 2013. And when I went to college, everything just kind of snowballed until they were like, yeah, you have a full-blown anxiety disorder and you have depression. So I'm going to try to give you some tips and tricks so that it doesn't take you 7 years for you to get help and be in a state where you can manage your anxiety and or depression. So if you're interested and you want to learn more about it, stay tuned. Okay, so the first thing that I am going to say is to be very aware of the symptoms or any change you see in yourself. Okay, so the 10 most common symptoms of depression are feeling helpless and hopeless, loss of interest in daily activities, appetite or weight changes, sleep changes, anger or irritability, loss of energy, self-loathing, reckless behavior, concentration problems, and unexpected aches and pains. And honestly, looking down at that list, I can probably say that I've experienced all of them, and some of them kind of tie into the others. So because I would have self-loathing, I would then feel like I don't deserve to eat anything, so then I wasn't eating anything, and I also wasn't hungry. Well, I was hungry, but then I would be so anxious and so, again, all the self-loathing thoughts and whatnot, that if I ate anything for real, I would throw up. Like, it was very bad. So be aware of, and you don't have to have all of them. I hope you do not have all of them. But even if you just have a few, you need to check in with somebody. And that goes on into number 2. Do not be afraid to ask for help. Being the I can do it myself kind of person that I am, I figured that I could figure it out on my own, that I'm not really depressed. It's just that people keep messing with me, or the test is too hard, or that professor is an asshole, or whatever else is their excuse. But it's just like, those things may be true, but being close to not functioning normally because of any of the symptoms is a problem. So go get help. You can, I went to Georgia State University. The counseling center there was phenomenal. I thank them every day in my head. Like, they were great. You can also talk to your primary care physician, and you can do online therapy options. You could talk to one of your professors if you feel comfortable enough with them, one of your RAs, your roommate if they aren't part of the issue. Just ask for help and get help. And even when you are getting help, another thing is that not all therapists will work for you. You just kind of have to find your niche. Now, at Georgia State, we had this long questionnaire that we had to fill out so that you can find someone who's accustomed to you. And to this day, I love who they assigned to me as my therapist. Like I said, I thank God for her every day. But if you go to a different school or you don't necessarily have that option, just, if you try out one therapist and it doesn't seem to mesh well, you can go to another one. You're not under contractual obligation to stay with that one therapist. Go ahead, shop around and find someone who you're willing to talk to and who you feel like can help you the best. So number 3 would be to begin to identify any possible triggers, any counterproductive habits that you may have, and start to develop healthy coping mechanisms. So I had a few triggers, but I also had, on top of that, had a lot of counterproductive habits, such as I'm not going to get enough sleep, which again is hard because you have insomnia sometimes as a depressed person, or I wasn't eating again because there's shift in appetite, so my body and my brain is already at its limit, and then I'm adding class on top of that, and it's kind of just a recipe for a breakdown. So even if you're not hungry, Even if you're not tired and you need to take melatonin or something that will help you go to sleep, that's legal, do that so that you can function properly and get what you need to get done. Because you are a college student. You still want to get your proper grades so that you can graduate or go to graduate school or whatever else you have planned. So to be functional, you need to make sure that you are taking as much of your... So to be functional, you want to make sure you're creating as much of a buffer as you need so that you don't kind of tap into the jump off. And that sounds really bad, but I have no other way to explain it. Basically, like, my jump off end would be either a panic attack or I'm sitting in my room or my dorm and not going anywhere for a week and barely eating. Like, that's what I call my jump off point. It was just like, I'm not here. So for me to not get there, I would need to do a lot of things as a buffer so that it took a lot more for me to get to that point. And in terms of healthy coping mechanisms, you are going to drink in college, but do not drink your emotions away. It's not going to work. If you're getting help from the proper resources, they'll help you develop certain healthy coping mechanisms. But I tried the whole I don't need therapy. I'm going to just smoke a blunt so I can eat and drink a little bit so I can feel a little bit better for a couple hours, but it always comes back. So it's not worth it. I mean, have your fun, but don't use that as a form of self-medication because it's not going to be very beneficial. Long term, at least. And also avoid toxic people. And depending on why you may have anxiety or depression, people can be a very instrumental factor to that, because some people, especially in college, because everyone initially is so young, they don't understand. And they also don't give a fuck. So you may be having a breakdown or something might be bothering you and they just don't care because you're impeding on their fun now. So it's a little bit of a lonely road. But once you find your people and find people who care about you, and again, you have your own coping mechanisms, you'll be good to go. Okay, number 4, if you get prescribed medication, take the medication, okay? So I know some people are apprehensive because they feel like there might be adverse side effects, and for some of them there are. I'm not going to negate that. And for some people, you might have tried a medication and it didn't really work, so you're like, okay, well, medication is pointless because that's not working either. Try another one. It took me 3 tries before I was before I was prescribed Zoloft, and that's worked wonders. I can function so much better than I used to be able to function. But again, like I said, it took me 3 different medications and them doing various forms of things to get me to that point. Also, I had one of my physicians, she did like a whole lab and found out that I even had like a serotonin imbalance and all this other stuff. So it was easier to help her eliminate certain things as well. So don't give up. Try the medication. If it's not working or you don't feel much of a change, go back to your doctor, talk about it. They'll either up your dosage, because even with Zoloft, they had to up my dosage before I felt perfectly okay. But talk to your doctor, get another plan forming. They're either gonna up your dosage, reduce your dosage, or switch to a new medication, whatever one. But if you had prescribed medication, take the medication. It can help you a lot. And last, but certainly not least, this is like a major key. Get and/or form a solid support group. Like I said, there are some people in college who will not care about whatever you're going through. They want to have a good time. They don't want you bringing them down. They don't want you bringing them into reality, or they might say you're a bummer, whatever. But you have a mental illness, or you might be going through a very hard time. So, if that's the case, if you find people who are understanding and are willing to be that ear for you, hold on to them, appreciate them. I definitely had Tiara in college. That was my baby, and she still is my baby. But if I was having a really bad time or a hard time, even if we were out and I was just like, I need to go, she had no problem with just being like, okay, let me get you out of here for whatever reason, and we'd be good to go. And then of course, after my first freshman year at a different college, I came to Georgia because my family was here, and my family is another very good support group for me. I didn't feel super alone, and even if I needed that extra support, it was just an easy drive from Atlanta to Lawrenceville to see my parents. Like, it was not super drastic like when I was going to college in Alabama and then it's like a 4-hour drive to get to my parents. Like, no. So that definitely helps. So if you need to do that, if you need to transfer schools for your mental health, do that. It's okay. Maybe not all the credits will transfer, but you would be better for you to maybe have to take an extra class too than to really just be going crazy in another spot because you don't have a good support system. Also, I do have to give a shout out to Micah too, because Micah definitely would drive to come hang out with me when I just wasn't okay. So I gotta give him a shout out too. But yeah, those are my 5 main tips that I can give you for handling anxiety and depression. If you want me to explain my journey with it, because again, I've been dealing with it for 7 years, so I'm not like the expert, but I got a decent grasp on it now. So if you want me to talk about it some more, or you want any extra tips, let me know. If anybody else has any extra tips that they would like to leave down in the comments, please do so. If you have any more questions, put them in the comments. I hope this was helpful. Thank you for watching, and I hope you guys have a good year, good rest of the semester. Stay focused, get the help that you need, and I love you. And trouble don't last always, baby. All right. All right, guys.